All right, hello everyone. Welcome to this rare Sunday edition of the Bitcoin Brief with your host Tone Vays, and I am joined by the one and only Jimmy Song. Unfortunately, we were not able to do this show at the proper hour, and a little late for Florence over in Africa, so it'll just be Jimmy and myself. Oh man, Jimmy, I am loving South Florida. It is 3 p.m. here. I look like it's 7 a.m. and because we're out, we're having fun. If you saw my Instagram, you know how much fun we're having out. People are partying, people are dancing. And you know what? If you don't like it, stay in your goddamn basement and don't come out. Life will move on without you, and we will get our sunlight and we will enjoy the things that make life worth living. Jimmy, how are things in Texas?
Well, you can see that I'm in my Sunday best. I just came back from church. I'm doing great. I'm enjoying life here too. It does feel like things are getting at least a little bit more back to normal, though. You know, they just shut down San Francisco again, and California is gonna probably follow suit, something like that. But in the meantime, I'm gonna enjoy what I can. I've decided I need to be grateful, and that's a choice that you can make, and you can live your life if
Shit.
you so choose.
Hold on. I got someone knocking, which is weird because no one knows how well I live. 1 second, Jimmy. Someone's knocking at the door.
I guess I'm in charge of keeping your viewers entertained. Anyway, yeah, lots of things going on, but yeah, Tone apparently partied pretty hard last night, and you know when you haven't partied for something like 9 months, I imagine people go a little overboard. So I wouldn't be surprised if Tone was partying really, really hard. So yeah, I mean, if he sounds a little bit hungover or something like that, yeah, I mean, give cut him some slack. He is the way he is. Um, yeah, some other things that are going on. Obviously, we're on a Sunday, there, just all kinds of things going on around the world, including COVID related things, US politics related things, lockdown related things. There's just so much going on in the world. And hopefully, this show can be for you a little island of peace. Now, I don't know what Tone is doing. I don't know who the hell is at the door, but that's taking an awful long time, given that he's in a hotel room in Miami. But yeah, I mean, who knows? I mean, maybe it's somebody that needed
All
to
right,
be
cool.
there or
Sorry.
something like that.
All right, have fun with the audience. My bad. Yeah, no, I'm at a friend's apartment here in Miami who
Oh,
just
you're
bought
not at
it.
a hotel? I thought you were at a hotel.
No. I'm at a friend's apartment, and a neighbor knocked saying that there was like a bunch of boxes downstairs for like packages, but I didn't even know because they weren't where I thought they were. Anyway, it doesn't matter. Let's go to the stories. I'll deal with that right after. I had no idea. It was probably apparently in another room somewhere. My friend's probably watching too. He's like, "Oh shit, Tone."
All right,
All
let's
right,
go
here
to
we
the
go.
stories, baby.
Hope he kept the people entertained. All right,
I tried
so
to. I told them about your 4 a.m. Party, but yeah,
oh god,
it's
the
not like
4 a.m.
anyone would not know about that, given your
See,
Instagram.
I'm not even a partier, but when you can't do shit for 9 months,
Yeah.
uh,
Yeah, I imagine you went a little overboard, and so did everyone else. That's my guess.
yeah, for a couple of days in a row now. Let's see how tonight goes. Okay. Anyway, let's talk about what happened with Bcash, and so they had their fork, and then
Mm.
there was a lot of malicious mining going on, but it looks like the mining is kind of normal now, but just really weird stuff. So, like, just like reading some of these statements, I'm so confused. So, let me read this. Later the same day, the group tweeted that the price of freedom is steep. Like, what the hell? Like what kind of communist is writing this? And also posted screenshots of ABC lead developer Amarissa Shea, where he discussed the infrastructure funding plan. The group wrote ABC violated. So the group is writing that Amarissa Shea violated the non-aggression principle, with 9 months of civil war, free riders must pay 100% of the block reward to ABC. We will orphan all blocks that do not. So this sounds like the group is for a Marissa Shea. This shit is so confusing, man. Like, can you make heads or tails of this? Like, which of these groups is trying to be the communist dictator or both?
Oh, they're both in a sense. But Emery was always sort of like saw himself as the benevolent dictator for life on Bitcoin Cash, and when he didn't get his way on the IFP or the Infrastructure Funding Plan, that's when the split happened. And I suspect that that had at least a little bit to do with SV split as well. But yeah, he's all on his own. This particular attack was a miner that kept mining empty blocks. So the Bitcoin Cash mempool got larger and larger, and all those people on the Bitcoin Cash node side that wanted to sell their Bitcoin Cash ABC couldn't do it because none of the transactions would clear. So it was a weird attack. It's not entirely clear who was doing it and for what reason. But all we know is that it prevented the usability of BCHA, at least in terms of transactions and payments and things like that, for quite a bit. And this is the real irony of BCHA and BCHN, is that they're all about getting these transactions out right away and things like that, and they have to rely on zero confirmation when in fact you can get attacked super easily. And that's kind of the point of this article. As far as like who's violating the non-aggression principle, obviously both sides are claiming that the other side is violating NAP or whatever, but that's normal. That's sort of like a libertarian talking point. It's kind of the equivalent of saying you started it. Regardless, it's this is what you get when you centralize, right? Like, and that's ultimately what they did, is they traded decentralization in order to have bigger blocks, and the trade-off looks worse and worse every time.
Yep, and it always does. All right, so sticking with Bitcoin shitforks for 200, we have an example of how Fox Business has no clue what they're doing. Because apparently they wanted to book someone to talk about Bitcoin since the price is rising so much, when instead they booked a Bitcoin SV show, and at least they realized that 2 minutes into the interview and cut him off. So they booked Jimmy Nguyen, who I personally remember because I watched.
Jimmy Nguyen. Yeah.
Okay. And I first ran across him. Oh, my mic sounds muffled. Damn.
It might be your voice, but I'm just saying.
No, I'm getting complaints on this mic. And the thing is, it's the same mic that I've always used when I travel. But now I'm using it with the new computer and something doesn't work. So I don't know how to manage that.
Yeah, I'm gonna hook you up with an audio interface and like a real mic.
No, but I can't travel with all that stuff. Like I've been traveling with this mic. It's like my 4th version of the same mic because they do break, but they're good. And
is it a USB or just a plug-in?
No, it's a traditional.
Yeah, you get a USB one. That'll probably solve it.
I know, but like that, this is good. Anyway, it to be honest,
you were talking about Jimmy Nguyen, Bitcoin SV.
Yeah. Anyway, like streaming is getting very frustrating, and like there's just no time for it. We do too many streams. Anyway, yeah. So I first ran across him when he was presenting at a Bitcoin scaling conference, and this is around the time when I started referring to Bitcoin scaling conferences as shitcoin scaling conferences, because I felt that 80% of the presentations were scaling shitcoins and had nothing to do with actual scaling of Bitcoin. But even I was able to figure that out long ago. But yeah, so this just shows monster incompetence. And the reason why the story is extra frustrating is that this is how shitcoins dilute the space and how not even business mainstream media understands the difference between a scam and Bitcoin. And this is where the blame falls on people in the crypto space. Basically, 99% of the people in crypto, not including myself or Jimmy or Adam Back or Giacomo Zucco, that takes the attitude of, I don't want to upset people. We should be nice to scammers. We should all get along. And then this is what happens. And this is how Fox Business ends up putting a scammer on national TV because people in our space are afraid to open their mouths. Your thoughts?
Yeah. Also, like, you got to understand what these guys do. They really just sort of Google and go from there. And somehow the SEO for Bitcoin SV got up high enough that they ended up booking this guy instead of any one of us that would have done a much better job. So Fox Business, if you're watching this, hey, Tone and I are available, right? Like, come book us instead of scammers like this guy. And we'll help you out instead of you guys getting scammed.
Yeah, it's very frustrating. It goes back to Paul Snow speaking in front of Congress, and several others like what's his name, Zuko spoke in front of Congress, not Giacomo, but that would have been great. And it's just so many people that are basically. Well, I don't know if Zuko's not incompetent. He just builds a scam coin. And this is where a lot of problems show up. And then people complain when things get hacked. And we're not going to even talk about this. It's just our weekly example of a DeFi project getting hacked, and it's irrelevant at this point whether it's internal or external. And we'll talk about that after. And this leads to these kinds of things. U.S. lawmakers seek to make stablecoins illegal without federal approval. I don't know what else people wanted. This is what you guys are begging for with the Tether situation. So it's like half the people wanted this and the other half don't. And this happens because of things like Tether. And this probably relates to Tether quite a bit. So I'm going to merge the next three stories together. So the government wants to set up a bill so it shall be unlawful for any person to issue a stablecoin or stablecoin related product, to provide any stablecoin related service, or otherwise engage in any stablecoin related commercial activity, including activity involving stablecoins issued by other people without obtaining written approval in advance and on an ongoing basis from the appropriate federal banking agencies. So this one was interesting, actually, including activity involving stablecoins. So it sounds like they want to make it illegal for, say, US citizens to even use stablecoins unless they have been approved by the US government. And of course, the EU is fully on board with this. ECB's Lagarde strikes bullish tone on digital euro, says stablecoins pose serious risks, and also ties in with the current Libra situation, where they are about to become a USD stablecoin, probably fully approved by the US government. So what does this mean? Does this mean that we're on the verge of seeing Tether ruled illegal? And this is what I always said. Back in the day when people were so high on Tether, my answer was the US government can go and confiscate the underlying dollars. This is no different. This is the government saying that Tether is illegal, as Tether is in a lawsuit trying to, defend the fact that they are fully backed and reserved. Jimmy, your thoughts on this?
Yeah, the way I read the whole stablecoin act was this is what you call a Congress shakedown. This is what the government does to you when they think you have a lot of money and they want their share, they want their piece, they want their bribes, and that's what they're doing. Of course, they're putting it in terms of, oh, we're protecting the little guy or financial access and all that other stuff, but really it's so that they can go in and regulate it. And here's the thing. With Bitcoin, you can't really do that because there's no central foundation or some central place that issues it or anything like that. So Bitcoin is not relevant to that discussion. But when you're a stable coin, you have a bank account somewhere, and they definitely can regulate that, and they can put a lot of pressure on you. Algorithmic stable coins, you have an issuer, you have somebody that created that smart contract or something. They're going to get regulated. Even if you're an altcoin or anything, you are. I mean, expect something like this to come after you. And this is what we've always been saying about centralization versus decentralization. If you're decentralized, there's no one to come after. You either have to come after the entire community, everybody that's ever held Bitcoin and who's running a node or whatever, you'd have to come after all of them. Versus an altcoin, if you want to control Ethereum and regulate Ethereum, all you have to do is go and regulate Vitalik Buterin or the Ethereum Foundation or Infura or whatever. There's so many ways in which they can get their tentacles onto you, and that's what makes them so super vulnerable and not nearly as worthwhile. So that I think is the common theme across these things. Libra in particular, it makes sense for them to want regulations like this because that will prevent their competition from being able to, innovate and things like that. Instead of having 100 stable coins, you're going to have like 3, and they're going to have to go, apply for what's equivalent to the bit license for the United States in order to do anything with it, and they'll pay a lot of money, a lot of lobbyists, a lot of campaign contributions, and they'll get it passed. And that will be the only one that's going to be allowed. And then everybody else will fall by the wayside. This is how it works. And it will have the same exact vulnerabilities and fragility that Bitcoin itself, that the US dollar itself has. And Bitcoin will do better as a result because those fragile things will inevitably break up. Tone, you're not coming through. Something's wrong with you. And you're not muted on Zoom, so I think it's something with.
All right, how about now?
Yeah, I can hear you now.
Is it good? Is my audio? I actually have no idea where my audio is coming from right now.
Yeah, it's not that great, but
it's not great. Okay, is this better? It should be working.
I don't think it's that mic. It's probably some other mic from the computer itself.
Great. So
I don't know. I can use my camera mic. Some people.
Yeah, it's not bad. I mean, it's a little noisy, but I can hear you.
I gotta start traveling with my like $250 Rode mic, but like now it's again more crap to carry. All right, sorry guys, it's been a rough 2 days. So here in Miami, in a good way, actually.
Yeah, not rough. Fun is what you. Yeah, fun is the word that you're looking for.
I mean, we haven't done a news show in over a week, so we just had to do it. Otherwise, like, we have 500 stories. Look, we've said this for God knows how long. Everything besides Bitcoin is centralized, and it will be regulated. And they will take your money, or the creators of those projects will take the money and run. This is why none of them make any sense. This is why Tether never had future potential unless they were going to be the de facto PayPal, or they were going to just become a government arm. Like, then people are like saying, well, if they used this shitcoin stable coin, they wouldn't be able to do it because it's decentralized. No, it's not. Your shitcoin stablecoin is not decentralized because a stablecoin needs to have money in some bank. And that means that money can be confiscated. That money can be regulated. The people in charge of those banks can be regulated, okay? And this is one of the things that people just can't follow. Okay, so to wrap up the shitcoins, and we'll get to that in a minute. To wrap up the shitcoins, we have here's again more examples of just straight ignorance. Though in this case, I blame the liquidity of Barry Silver's Grayscale. Litecoin is trading at Bcash is trading at 1,000% premium because there's just no liquidity on the Bcash version on the pink sheets, which baffles me. Why in the world you would want to do that to retail investors? And the same thing with Litecoin. Litecoin is trading at 5,000 premium because for some reason, this is how dumb people are. This premium is going to go back to default. This premium is coming back to zero. So you're overpaying for Litecoin by 6,000%. As a reference point, Bitcoin's premium on GBTC hovers between 5% and 25%. And Litecoin is at 6,000%. So you are buying an $8 asset for $500 for no other reason than its liquidity. So think of it this way. Let's talk about the silver to Bitcoin's gold. There is a ridiculous amount of silver in the world, which is why 1 ounce of silver is only worth about $20. And I'm just ballparking. I haven't looked at the price in a while. But imagine some guy decided to, buy 1,000 ounces of silver, and idiots think that that is the only silver left on the planet. And now they're buying that silver instead of $20 an ounce, and they're buying it for $1,000 an ounce because this one guy only has 1,000 ounces, and you think that's all there is. This is how silly these people are, buying Litecoin at 6,000%. Now, that doesn't mean that they can't make money. It can go to 20,000% above spot for no other reason than liquidity and idiots trying to buy it. Jimmy, any comments on this? Or
yeah, I suspect that you can see that when they launched, I think around September or August of this year, and they've had a very short life so far. And there's that time period also coincides with a giant pump in these coins. So it's not surprising that there was sort of like a little bit of a frenzy. I suspect that the Bitcoin Cash one suffers from some, case of mistaken identity. There's probably at least a non-trivial amount of people that think that they're buying Bitcoin when they're buying Bitcoin Cash. The premium right now is like any exchange that lists a new coin. You're going to have really high fluctuations early on, just because people don't know what they're doing, and there's almost always like idiots that want to diversify into stuff that they don't really understand. That seems to be the case here. But yeah, I mean, these are people that are getting wrecked for certain. If there was a way to short these things, I think that would be an excellent trade, though, like you might have to wait a little bit.
Yeah, but those that locked up Litecoin with Barry Silver for the last year or two, they're now selling it to the retail investor for a 6,000% premium, which is insane. Please understand how these products work. Please go to their website, because otherwise you're being taken advantage of.
Yeah, I mean, the crazy thing is it's like way more than the actual price of Litecoin. So yeah.
So here's another one, right? So we talked earlier, and it kind of goes to what Christine Lagarde said. So if you look at Lagarde's quote, the main risk lies in relying purely on technology and the flawed concept of there being no identifiable issuer or claim. This also means that users cannot rely on crypto assets maintaining a stable value. They are highly volatile, illiquid, and speculative, and so do not fulfill all the functions of money. And a lot of this also has to do with, the whole KYC AML. Well, we don't know who owns it. We don't know where it's going. And right on cue, here comes a Bloomberg article: Bitcoin integrity flaws may lead to failure, says some guy. And here it is. Part of the integrity of a system is knowing who owns it and knowing who has it and knowing why it's being transferred, Cohen said. The Bitcoin system today has no transparency to it. So there are a lot of people that question, why would you need a system that does not have an audit trail? So basically, this is again going, some guy wrote an article, quoted, saying that Bitcoin is going to die because it has no KYC. I have my thoughts, but Jimmy.
Yeah, this is how bureaucrats think. The first article is hilarious because she thinks that if there's no issuer or something, that it's not money. Yet, if you think about gold, who's the issuer of gold? It's whoever like dug it up, and it could be anyone that dug it up, as long as it chemically is gold. No one really cares where it came from. And she's thinking only in terms of like a Keynesian economic framework. And as is this guy, if there's, you don't know who has it or why it's being transferred, it's no good. Actually, it's fine as long as you know that the total amount is fixed, which is what Bitcoin allows you to have. We have no idea how many US dollars there are. You might know who has it and why it's being transferred, but you have no idea how much of it there is because the entire system is so opaque and non-transparent. You want to talk about transparency or needing an audit trail, the US dollar does not have that at all. They're not really even sure exactly how much US debt we have as a government. That's how messed up the system is. So, this is the bloviating of bureaucrats that don't know anything, and their worldview, is completely like insane, and they don't understand anything, and they like to think that because they have a particular position that they are a voice of authority, and to some people they might be, but it's going to be an expensive lesson if you listen to these people.
Yeah, and it's the hypocrisy nature of it. It's like Jimmy said, well, who knows how much US dollars are there? Who knows where they are? We sure as hell don't. And this hypocrisy is across the board. The political party that was screaming election fraud, that was bogus. It just committed I think this election fraud was probably worse than what Venezuela did to keep re-electing Chavez and then Maduro. And the same thing with COVID, the same doctors that are out there screaming masks are constantly being, they're getting caught, partying with like a dozen people without a mask. So I'm not saying don't party without a mask. I'm saying don't be a freaking hypocrite by saying one thing and doing another. And this is exactly it. People just don't understand Bitcoin and the fact that it is the most trusted money in the world now because people trust its trustlessness nature. And the moment you're able to understand that, that's when the light bulb goes off that Bitcoin is the asset that will outlast the US dollar. Well, speaking of, more and more companies are starting to realize how valuable Bitcoin is. So here we have the Guggenheim Fund files to be able to invest up to 500 million in GBTC, which I think is kind of silly. You guys are a big hedge fund. So I don't understand why you need permission to buy an asset that I can buy tomorrow if I wanted to, or sell. So I don't understand why you need permission from the government to buy something.
It's probably because it's a trust. So the trust needs to file something in order to change the rules by which the trust is run. And that's what it sounds like.
Yeah, so then this article, and you would think that CoinDesk would know better, or somebody would know better. GBTC is an openly traded ticker. I mean, it could be the trust, but...
Well, I mean, the first sentence says Guggenheim Fund's trust filed an amendment. So it's probably an amendment to the trust itself with the securities.
Let's just say like the letter GBTC don't really make sense because that is an openly traded ticker. So if they're investing in the trust itself, then there'll be a lockup period. And I guess they would need permission. But if they invest in the lockup period, that'll be good. It's more Bitcoin.
Well, I mean, we don't know what the bylaws of the trust are, so it might prevent crypto or something like that, and they might need to file an amendment to allow them to do that.
Well, in any case, we have more and more companies that are interested in getting Bitcoin. We have the BlackRocks, one of their, I believe, C-level managers, Fink. What's his first name? Larry Fink. He's a CEO. Sorry, going straight to CEO. I should have known that. Larry Fink. Bitcoin can't possibly evolve into a global asset. I don't know where he's been the last 5 years, but it has certainly evolved into a major global asset over the last 5 years. We also have another top fund and the top person at the fund basically admitting that, hey, maybe I was wrong about Bitcoin, still waiting on Peter Schiff to do that, but looks like he's doubling down on his view that Bitcoin is going nowhere. So that's another, billion-dollar fund. Well, that's actually no, actually, I'm not familiar with this one. BlackRock is a multi-billion-dollar company. So more and more are starting to invest, and now you're starting to see articles where if you're not investing in Bitcoin, you are doing a disservice to your shareholders, to your equity holders, pretty much even your customers. And if you don't start investing into Bitcoin, then your job could actually be in jeopardy if your job is to do what's best for the firm. So all of this is incredibly interesting and is happening very, very quickly. So we may get that pop to 100K sooner than later. What do you think, Jimmy?
Yeah, the big shift that I'm seeing is people are using it as their reserve asset, and that's going to be that was always bigger than any sort of like transaction aspect of it or revenue aspect of it. I mean, if you're a company like Dell, you can take Bitcoin for your computers, which they've done, but that's like minimal compared to the cash balance that they might have at any given moment. They had that in Bitcoin. That's a much larger like impact on the community, and I think pretty much everyone is coming to that realization that it's not about transactions; it's about using it as a store of value, and that's what all of these stories are about. Is once companies use Bitcoin as a store of value, you're going to do way better than if you don't, or if you use the dollar as a store of value or whatever, and that's a very good thing. They're coming around to this way of thinking, and I suspect that once we get some institutional company like S&P 500 company FOMO, I mean, 100K seems kind of low.
That'd be nice. That would be nice. All right, we got another major headline coming out of Reuters. This was a few days ago, where they're writing dollar plummets on U.S. stimulus hopes, Bitcoin hits all-time peak. They're not exactly correlated, but I mean, these companies, I mean, it's their job to do clickbaity headlines, but this one was particularly interesting. It's just the way it sounds, and it was so interesting that Slush decided to add it into a block, just like. Did you know about this?
Yeah, I mean, I did see the Slush block where they put that in sort of as a tribute to the Genesis block. I think it was 03/Jan/2009, something like that. Chancellor on the brink of second bailouts. This was for them kind of funny as like sort of like a counterplay to that, and I think that's great. I hope that. I mean, stories like this sort of give you a different perspective on what's happening. Instead of seeing Bitcoin as going up, you see the dollar as going down. And, I mean, they both have their strengths and weaknesses, but that's another way of seeing how our government is stealing from us.
Yeah, and people are starting to realize that gold is once again not the asset you want to hold. Gold hit a high. Listen.
Thank you.
gold hit a high back in August, and it's been down ever since. It started rallying a couple of days ago, but Bitcoin is on the verge of breaking out to a new all-time high. In fact, I have no idea what the price of Bitcoin is. I haven't paid attention to it the last 2 days, but I'm assuming it's still around 19,000. I haven't heard anything, so figured it's flat. And people are realizing that gold is not that great anymore. But as for the dollar plummeting, I'm going to take a look at the dollar chart because I don't believe that it would actually be plummeting. So any other general thoughts on this? I think I do have one more story. Oh yeah, we got to talk about this happen. Any closing thoughts on gold versus the dollar? I know Peter Schiff still doesn't get it, but everyone else.
Yeah, I've said this before. Like the big weakness of gold is that there are so strong centralization forces to gold, and really that's the main argument. Is that like say we get what all the gold bugs want, which is to return to the gold standard, and then what? Well, then all of the gold is still in one place, right? Because if you want to transact with it or whatever, you need some sort of gold substitute, a dollar that's backed by gold or whatever. But if it's all in one place, then there's nothing to stop them from fractional reserve lending it, and that inevitably leads to fiat money, and that is that's what's happened with gold every single time because of its physical nature. With Bitcoin, because you can be your own bank and you don't need you don't need banks to issue you banknotes that represent the gold that's in the vault. Instead, you have something like Lightning, which is completely trustless, and you have Bitcoin that you can instantly transact. Then it becomes something that you can manage yourself, and all of it is not in one place, and that means that it can't be seized, and it stays decentralized. So for me, that's the main argument against gold, which I think Peter Schiff even kind of gets, but which is shown when he says stuff like, well, if people are keeping it with custodians, then Bitcoin's big advantage is gone. And he's kind of right in that regard. If you're keeping your money on Coinbase or something like that, that's essentially taking out the major advantage that Bitcoin has, which is its decentralization. And that's even Peter Schiff sees that. So that should tell you something.
Yeah, I agree with that completely. All right, and our final story, and this was very disappointing to read, S&P Dow Jones Indices, a division of financial data provider S&P Global Inc., said on Thursday that it will launch cryptocurrency indices in 2021, making it the latest major finance company to enter the nascent asset class. But here's the problem. The S&P Dow Jones branded product will use data from the New York-based virtual currency company Luca, which I've never heard of, on more than 550 of the top traded coins. Isn't BitConnect still one of the top 550 traded coins?
I don't think it is, but
I'm
yeah,
really tempted, and I have to go to, I guess, Coin Market Cap on this. This is going to be dangerous.
I'm pretty sure it's below 550, but
I usually go to CoinGecko, but it's hard to display all of them. So if they're gonna do an index of the top 500,
well, I mean, we know that Hex is going to be in the top 550, so that is definitely a scam. So there you go.
It's like, what do you do? Like who are their advisors? Vitalik Buterin? Like what the hell are they doing?
Well, they're doing. I mean, they're trying to apply their business model, which is to make like something like the S&P 500 index or the Dow Jones.
I'm trying to find what kind of crap there is all the way down the list.
Yeah, you could just go to page 5 and that'll tell you what the.
Yeah, I could have done that, but I wanted to like display all of them. I'm sure there's some gems in between. Let's go straight to page 5. So that's
going to show you all of the crap that's in page 5. Dragon Chain. Oh, Grin is there. Grin's at 407. Wow, 30 cents, huh?
Didn't they like completely implode and they got 51% attack?
I have no idea.
Da Vinci coin.
Mimic, Da Vinci coin. I haven't heard of most of these.
No,
Saffron.finance.
What
True Chain.
Digits Dow is still like around.
Wow, that's been around. Bitsy coin. Let's see. OctoFi, Prism. I feel like I've heard of some of these, but I mean, they're like so many coins of the week. It's not even Unobtainium. I still remember that one.
I want to see Aurora coin. I want to see Pay coin. I want to see man, this is.
Those are all gone, man. I mean, there's something like 7,000 coins now, so it's actually kind of hard to get into the top 500.
But this is so dumb. Like, how do you like who's
again? They're trying to fit the business model which they have, which is okay. We want like a broad-based index. That's what the S&P 500 is, and they do that for different segments and so on. And they want to do that's what they know. So they're like, okay, we'll do the exact same business model on crypto because they don't understand it. They think it's like stocks or something. What they don't realize is that you're basically giving 400 or 549 pink sheet stocks and one blue chip. That's it. It's a stupid index and it doesn't mean anything.
All right, Jimmy, I don't have much else. I wasn't, let's look at the mempool because I didn't
bring that up yet. Yeah, you have a lot of tabs open, dude.
I know, I'm gonna start closing all of these actually.
Whoops, you had it.
No, it's still there. Closing tabs until I get to it again.
That's a lot of tabs to close, dude.
Well, those are all the news tabs.
All right, there we go. All right, so a little bit of an anomaly. Well, don't do 1 month, do the 1 week view. A little bit of an anomaly this week because normally what you get is clearing of all of the transactions over the weekend. And some of them are definitely clearing. I think we ate into the 1 sat per byte transactions yesterday. But yeah, a lot of these transactions, have been in the mempool. Lot of consolidating going on. It probably helps that we had an all-time high earlier this week. So all of that is sort of like playing into what's going on. I don't know if everything will clear tonight. Normally it does clear over the weekend and you can see it sort of eating into the 1 sat per byte transactions right now. And there are many hours to go. But yeah, I mean, right now, if you wanted to get something in, I would probably price it at like 1.1 sat per byte or something like that. So you get it in ahead of the pink bar. But yeah, you don't need to wait very much. Yeah, it looks pretty good. But it'll start again on Monday. And if the price says show me anything, it's that things go up or down Sunday evening my time, but usually like morning open in Europe or Asia, something like that.
All right, there's the price update. Let's I'm gonna
mempool update.
Sorry, I'm out of it. Like I was doing good earlier, but I don't know. I think I'm done for the day here.
Well, we're gonna look at the price, right?
Yeah, look at the price. I'm trying to pull up your website.
Oh yeah, that would be good. Yeah, I have a new book to promote there too. So there you
go. Programming Bitcoin. There we are. Is it on your website already?
No, it's a little delayed for some reason, or you have it on another tab completely. I don't see it. You're still on the mempool page.
No, I was talking about your book. I know my screen share isn't right yet.
Oh yeah, it is on the website. Yeah, I had my assistant do it yesterday. All right, there's my programming book and the little Bitcoin book, and then thank God for Bitcoin. This is a moral argument for Bitcoin. Mostly from a Christian perspective, but much like the ethics of money production, it might be useful to those that are not Christian as well. But yeah, it's got a lot of Well, it's about 120 pages, 140 pages on paperback. I wrote it
So
with
was this another
7
book
other
school?
authors. Yeah. Oh, well, it was like a 6-month book sprint because we did it over Zoom. But yeah, Robert Breedlove, George McHale, Julia Turiansky. Those are names that you might be.
Yeah, let's get Julia on here. I was actually just texting with her recently.
I'm sure she would love to be on and talk about it.
Yeah, we can get
yeah.
Breedlove. We can get Breedlove on here as well. Oh, Gabe Higgins, I know him as well.
Yeah. He comes to Unconfiscatable every year, and so
yeah.
Derek was at BitBlock Boom. I don't know about Jordan and Lyle, but yeah, it's an interesting book. If you have a Christian family member or something like that, this might be a good book to get for them as a way to get them to buy Bitcoin. We'll see. But yeah, we're starting full blast on promoting it this week. I'm going to be on a lot of different podcasts and a lot of different shows promoting it. Hopefully, some Christian ones as well, so I can cross promote and cross over into that arena, if you will. So, yeah.
Very cool. And Jimmy, of course, also has the Little Bitcoin book, which has been around for a little while.
Yeah.
I thought I clicked on it, but it didn't go anywhere.
Yeah.
Let's try it again. There we go.
There you go. There's the Little Bitcoin book. Yeah. So now I have 3 books under my belt. Tone, when are we gonna do our book, man? When's that gonna happen?
I can. Well, considering we were in quarantine for the last 9 months, it's gonna give me something to do. But we'll get there. We gotta think of a topic.
Yeah. I mean, it's gonna be something Bitcoin related. We just have to get an angle on it. Wow, that looks pretty nice. Look at that.
You got your wish. That is a crazy new monthly candle for the Heikinashi. And it is certainly the MRI top candle. It's what we were waiting for. Nope, I got to stay with monthly. I got to go to regular candles. I believe we are still topping. This is a little bit tricky here. The weekly Heikinashi is also on a monthly MRI top. If we use regular candles, we are 1 week past the MRI top, but this week is the monthly MRI top. So we just got to be real careful here and just watch out for still a potential top of the weekly basis. The daily is seriously consolidating, and this consolidation is actually making me bullish. I love consolidations at the tops of trends. And then the moment this area gets broken, which is the all-time high area of 19,700, if that gets broken, I think we go to 22, 23,000. I just don't see it topping right at 20. I mean, if we just consolidated for a week, and we may even take a few more days. So over the next few days is going to be very, very critical to see if we can break above that line to kick off one more big run.
Can you go to the hourly or the 4 hour?
This is one of those two.
Okay, there we go. I'm seeing a symmetric triangle here, but I don't know if you're seeing it.
I do as well. It's not great, but there is definitely a triangle here in the making. It's very slow sloping, very low sloping.
But that fits pretty well, it looks like. I don't know.
It does. And it's getting close to an end, and we are breaking out right now from the set triangle. So that is a bullish scenario right now happening, which is why the daily is suggesting that there is a little more upside, which would completely contradict the weekly, but not the monthly.
Unless we're on a new trend, I mean, you might get a second MRI top on the weekly, right? If it keeps going.
Yeah, it's got to keep going up.
Yeah.
All right, quick. GBTC. Oh, it's the weekend. That's not going to make it. It is the weekend. And I did do a video on Friday, so not much has changed. and the markets have not yet opened. Gold is rallying a little bit off the bounce, but not crazy high. Oh, this is my battery is also at 20%. Jeez. Because this computer drains more juice than it's able to charge because I'm not using the native charger. I gotta get my travel game better because my travel equipment was all set up for my old laptop.
Yeah, and you haven't had enough reps with with the new laptop. This is pretty much your first trip with your new laptop, or
right? It was my second trip, but the first trip I didn't learn my lessons and it was short. But this is my real trip with the new laptop. So as I learn what new things I need in order to function better with the new laptop, the audio will improve. The video, I believe, is okay. But I need to make sure the laptop is fully charged because I don't want that traveling with a native charger is like adding 5 pounds to my travel.
It doesn't have USB-C charging?
It does, but it's not powerful enough to charge it when I'm using it the way I'm using it now. Once I turn off Zoom, it can then have positive charging. But while I'm running Zoom along with everything else, it drains more battery than it gets in through the USB port. Because the native charger is a DC port, not a USB port.
I see.
So, but at least they put a USB-C charger there. All right, I'm sorry, guys. I was not in my usual cheery mode today. Just I think I never ever nap during the day. This might be one of those exceptions. And I'm not sick at all, which is why tonight we're gonna get some steaks, and I'm just gonna try to keep it on an earlier side.
Well, are we gonna see, how much of an upside do you see if we break out of that triangle there? Like you said, 23?
23, 22, 23. I think the pullback's still coming. And if we go to 22, 23, we now open up the possibility of only coming back down to 18, 19. But 14 is still possible. Right now, we have 12 is even possible, but I don't think we'll go below 14. The trouble starts here's where trouble potentially begins, is that if we break that, if we break the all-time high and go straight to above 25, if we go to let's say 28 or 29, and then potential trouble could set in because now I'll be 80% confident or 90% confident we're going to fall from 30,000 back down to 20. But that's only 33%, not the end of the world. But I'm also going to have, if we go up too quickly to 30,000, I will raise the probability of going down to 8,000. So if we go up really, really quick, we open the door for an 85% correction, like 3 or 4 prior times.
Well, it'll be an interesting month, that's for sure. I do feel like something's coming this week, and we're gonna break either up or down on that triangle. So looks like it's up at the moment, but we'll see.
Yeah, I agree with you. All right, we got the show done in an hour, considering how many stories we had, Jimmy. But I'll be back tomorrow with the usual price show. I really want to do Understanding Bitcoin show. But we'll see. We'll see what happens.
Yeah, I'll let Robert and Julia know that maybe we'll do a show with them.
Yeah, well, Robert and Julia know. Well, Julia knows. I was actually texting with her very recently about it, and I want to get Julia for another political show. I've been watching the hearings, man.
I haven't. I stopped paying attention after we did our election show because that was too emotional.
Like the amount of evidence that this election was totally fraudulent is through the roof, which still baffles the mind how people keep saying there's no evidence. And there's definitely evidence that you can watch and have testimony on. And that evidence is now in the court of public opinion. And anyone that thinks that there was no fraud just has a very stupid opinion. And so it'll be... I don't know what's going to happen. I still think Biden's going to win, but because nobody wants Trump. Like, not a single politician wants Trump. And that's a problem for the American people, that if it is what it appears to be, that like 60, like I said it a year and a half ago, that Trump was going to win by the biggest margin of history for a president rerunning for president, going into a second term. And some of the stuff that's coming out with the fraud, if there was no fraud, it's possible Trump would have broke the historical record for a re-election. It just makes it look like no one voted for Biden. Like, they couldn't even cheat in one way. They had to cheat in like 6 different ways, and they still barely won, because like they had votes flipping from Biden to Trump in the machine after they would put like fake ballots through the machine. So like fake ballots wasn't enough. They also had to mess with the software of the machine. Like, it's bad, but I'm sure you know all about it. You just haven't watched the hearings.
Yeah, I like, there's not much we can do about it, right? Like even if you make lots of videos or whatever, the cultural zeitgeist isn't going to change on our account. I'm just gonna wait and see what hand we get dealt, really, and then go from there. Because right now, not much that you can do other than see the events play out, because they're out of our control.
Yep, sounds like a good plan. All right, Jimmy, I think that's it for us for the day on this Sunday. This is why we normally take the weekends off. I think that's going to be a new.
All right, Fiat Delenda, this song is done.
Bye, guys. See you all on the next one.